Happy Sunday to you. I appreciate everybody stopping by here. This is my first really live YouTube live that I'm doing, and I wanted to kind of share a little bit about, what's been going on, what I've been going through, what's happening, kind of my journey, and a little bit about my backstory of how all this got started, and just kind of want to give you an update, life update of my journey on really turning my health back around. It actually started back December 16, 2008. I was involved in a serious motorcycle accident in Atlanta that almost cost me my life. And at the time of that accident, I was weighing about, I remember I was like right around 458 pounds, 460 pounds, right before that accident. So I knew exactly I was, approaching 500 pounds literally, and didn't feel good about myself. Energy was low. Was starting to have some other things going on with my health that I knew, but nobody else knew. And then I had the accident, and that accident really was it's not probably, it saved my life. Obviously, God spared my life from the accident, but from a health perspective, it really saved my life as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that and why it did. The first thing that it did was it forced me to change my eating habits. Being in the hospital, obviously you can't eat 9, 10 meals a day. You can't go through every drive-through that you ride by. You can't eat things that are just terrible for you. So it actually, me laying up in the bed probably was a big blessing for me, because it started me on a path of eating better. I say better, not a number of different times, but not a number of bad decisions from a food perspective every single day. So I was there for weeks, and then went home, went home and really couldn't eat the meat. I used to eat a lot of steak, and just things that were bad for you every single day, multiple times a day. Because I had so much facial trauma and dental trauma, I really couldn't eat meat. And once that transformation was kind of a turning point where I was kind of forced to limit my meat intake, because I physically couldn't eat meat. And I think that was really the beginning of me turning around my health. So I couldn't eat a lot of meat. I was laid up in a bed, rehabilitating from the accident. And that really was the turning point of my life from a health perspective. Now, growing up, I was always an athlete, big time athlete. I was active, worked out a lot, played football, baseball. But as an adult, after I got in corporate America, I kind of let those things go to the side. And it was whenever I could fit it in. It was never a part of my lifestyle. It was whenever I could fit it in. And we all know that when you have that, whenever you're going to fit it in mentality, you're going to get how you can fit it in type results, and they weren't very good. So the transformation started with me going from eating meat every single meal, snacks, meat, to I couldn't eat meat for a number of months. And then I remember I was laying in my bed. I had 24-hour care in my home. My family was there to help. And I tried to eat some meat, and I couldn't. I actually got sick. My stomach started bothering me. Stomach started cramping. And I said, man, why can't I eat this meat? Because I always loved steak and, the things that most Americans love to eat. I was having a problem digesting, and I couldn't eat it. And after that, I said, well, you know what? Maybe it's my system telling me that I don't need all this meat in my system. So once I was able to walk, I couldn't put any weight on my feet for months and months and months. I can't remember exact months, but I broke my pelvis really bad, so I couldn't even start walking yet. So what I was doing was the therapist would come in and he would stretch me. They would stretch me every single day. My pelvis trying to get me back. And that really was the beginning of me getting back into any type of activity, any kind of movement, was the therapist actually twisting and turning me around. So once I was able to get that little bit of activity going, I could start feeling myself, trying to get back to normal, actually moving in the right direction with my health. But it took Honestly, it took me a couple of years to go from almost 460 to hovering around 300, 320, right around in there. And I got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm just getting started. Just got back in the gym maybe about a month ago because, I'll be honest with you, I was nervous. I was scared because I had broke both of my wrists and my right arm. I had broke it in 23 different places. So I had all these plates and rods in my right arm. So I had the fear of lifting weights and something popping or breaking in my right arm. So for the longest time, I'd make excuse after excuse after excuse. And then one morning I woke up, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. I need to get back in the gym. I was always in shape guy. I was a gym rat, playing college ball and trying to get in the NFL. I was a gym rat as well. So I said, you know what? Let me get back in the gym. But the thing that really inspired me was the people around me, my family around me. And this is important. Your support team, your support mechanisms. I had some great support mechanisms around me. You know, the people say they love and care about you, but do they truly love and care about you? Well, the people around me, my family members, the people that I loved and cared about, they were working on their health too. So it inspired me to get into action. So one of the things that I would advise is that you want to get around some people that are conscious about their health, conscious about their weight, conscious about their future, because it can inspire you and put you into action. And that's exactly what it did. If someone loves you, they're going to inspire you. They're going to tell you the things sometimes that you don't want to hear. And that's what inspired me to really get in the gym and really start trying to get myself back together. And it's been a long road, but I feel really good. I'm grateful. I can definitely feel a difference in my body. People are telling me they can see a lot of difference in my body. But it all started with, really trying to work on my diet. And I watched a couple of videos that really scared me. One was, I'm trying to think of this. It was What the Health. I think it's called What the Hell. And the other one was Feel Rich. I watched those two videos and it talked about the food industry and how bad it was and what it does to our bodies and the stuff that we put in our temples. And that was the beginning of me really educating myself. Now, I was an athlete and, all that kind of stuff, but I mean, the new era type, the new information, the 2018 information of what was going on out there in the food industry and the health nutrition industry. And I started studying, I started reading, I started watching. And the biggest thing that I took away from them is if you don't stop totally eating meat, you have to limit that. I mean, our bodies are not built to be meat eaters. We're built basically to be vegetarian. There's also a book called What Jesus Ate by Dr. Dan Colbert that I read years ago. I actually went back and read that book. And he talks about biblically why Jesus ate what he ate and why our bodies are built the way it's built for nuts and lettuce and berries and all the things that Jesus ate biblically. But he talks about that in that book. And that was one of the books early in as an adult that I read. Actually, I was in corporate America and I read that book, What Jesus Ate by Dr. Dan Colbert. But those videos and that book, and then me just looking at myself, moving into my last part of my life, I said, man, I don't want to live my life. I lost my dad to diabetes. I lost my sister to cancer. I said, I don't want to live my life hooked up to hoses. I don't want to live my life a debilitating way. I don't want to go out that way. So I got to change things. I got to change my behavior. I got to change my mindset from a health perspective. Now, I always talked about making money and helping people do that, but one of the biggest facets of my life that I was failing in was my health, the area of my health. I had prosperous mindset when it came to building businesses, had prosperous mindsets in my family, but your finances are directly connected to your health and your spirituality. So that area of my life I was failing in. And I said, you know what? I don't want to go out like this. I don't want to be one of these people that just preach stuff. I actually want to practice what I preach. And so I started on this path to eating better, working on myself, and doing the things that are necessary. And one of the things that I knew one of the things I did know from playing ball, and I've been around some great institutions. I went to Purdue University, full ride scholarship. I went to Western Kentucky. So we had some great people around us from a nutrition standpoint. And one of the things I do remember is protein was critical to getting our bodies on track. Our protein and the number of times that we eat. Most people think to lose weight, they got to limit the times they eat, and that's actually wrong. You have to eat the right things to create the metabolism in your body to burn the bad fat. So I knew that. And so I started really focusing on eating more frequently, eating better things for myself, staying out of the drive-thrus, trying to limit myself. And this is something that's funny, but before my accident, I never really was a cookie or a cake eater, but whoever's blood I got, they were addicted to sweets. Cause I mean, that's one of my biggest challenges, cookies and candy. But I never ate that. That was never something that was my bailiwick coming up. But after those blood transfusions, I don't know who the person was. Thank God that you gave blood. You know, I appreciate what you did, but man, you gave me a sweet tooth, and I never had a sweet tooth before. So I had to limit intake of fructose corn syrup. That was one of the things that I read that was really hindering a lot of us and creating a lot of obesity was the fructose corn syrup. That's all the artificial sweeteners and sodas and cookies and candies and all the saturated stuff that's on the shelf, that's in packages. I try to start limiting myself to that. And I just started seeing people start seeing weight come off. I said, man, I'm losing weight. I got one of the biggest breakthroughs for me was I always wanted a Gucci belt, okay? And I went in a Gucci store with a friend of mine, Ron Wright. We were in Houston, Texas. And I said, I'm gonna try one of these belts on. And I tried the belt on and it fit. And man, we talking about excited. I was excited. And you're talking to a guy that could have bought, 50 belts at one time in a transaction, but I couldn't never fit one, so I couldn't buy one. So that was really the turning point for me, is when I was able to go in that Gucci store with a good friend of mine, put the belt on and actually buy a belt off the shelf. That was one of my goals. And that was really the beginning of giving me confidence that, hey, I can get it, I can shape, I can do some things that I always wanted to do. So now, since 2008, actually December 16, 2008 to now, people ask me, well, how did I? It was small incremental things that I did. I didn't do all these things one day. I mean, it took me time. Honestly, I went through depression. There was a couple of years I didn't do anything. I mean, I was not in the frame of mind to do anything. And to be honest with you, from 2008, December 16, 2008 to probably 2012, it was a whirlwind for me because I was going through so many different things personally, financially, health-wise, spiritual. I mean, anything that a person could go through, I was going through it. And food was one of my comfort areas, or where I was able to comfort myself. So those 4 years were me really trying to get myself out of depression and really focused in on getting myself back to where I needed to be. And it started with my health. So all I would tell you is words of encouragement: start small, educate yourself, get on a good protein based diet. Now there's a lot of people out there that are vegetarians. And this is another myth that I had to overcome. We were taught, even when I played ball, that all the protein that we took we wanted to get in our bodies should come from meat. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you think the animals get their protein? They're eating vegetation. So, you can get protein as a vegetarian. You can get it from beef. You can get it from beans. You can get it from greeny leaf stuff. There's a lot of ways to get protein in your system. So if you're a vegetarian or vegan based person, you still can have a high protein type diet and create the result that you want to create, and still have the look and the health that you want to have. So I will be doing these YouTube videos from time to time to walk you through my journey and kind of give you some encouragement, and hopefully we can do some great things together. So if you're watching this video, please subscribe, like it, comment in it. And I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to watch my journey back. My goal is 250 pounds is my goal. I know I've got probably another 60, 70 pounds to get there. And then I want to start really working on building my muscle mass back up because of the weight loss and all the things. So I'm excited, looking forward to hearing you guys' feedback. Thanks so much for all the encouraging words and all the support. Love you guys. We'll talk soon.